Investigating a beloved topic is a wonderful way to pass the time and creatively log, gain, and store knowledge on the subject of your choice. With a mixed media approach, the possibilities are endless. Let me show you how I went about researching and crafting pages on one of my treasured subjects, mushrooms. Step 1. Gathering the pieces. A good starting point for this is gathering lots of items that you can include in your pages. This could be magazine clippings, scrapbook papers, artwork that you've already created, stamps, labels, textured papers, and stickers. Whenever I'm working on an art project, I often keep cutaway scraps that look interesting, knowing that they might make a nice background in a future project. Gather all these items up and keep them close by. Step 2. Research. Next, research your topic. If you're not already an expert in the area you want to explore, look through some resources. The internet is fine, but a more tactile and immersive approach can be books, or studying out in the real world. Books have more merit and the researching feels more focused, intentional, and real. If you do use the net, then opt for official websites like museums or academic papers. And if your topic allows for researching outside, even better. Now you're ready to journal. Step 3. The first spread. Pick the book you want to journal with, and don't be afraid to use a beautiful one. I kept putting off using this gorgeous book because it was just so pretty and I didn't want to ruin it. But I finally found the courage to just go ahead and start. Why shouldn't we use pretty things? We deserve to. I've already filled in quite a lot of this book. If you're interested, let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do a tour of it and I can make a new video for that. But for now, I'm finding a fresh spread and going ahead and starting to think about the layout. I'll break the tension of the blank page by writing in a title, Mushrooms. And now I'm very lightly suggesting some layout options with pencil marks, and loosely placing where I think some of my items could sit. I'm going to use this lovely washi tape and bright, colourful stickers. I'd like to draw directly onto the page as well, so there's a mix of my own drawings and stickers and papers, etc. So I'll draw some nice long entwined mushrooms down the left-hand side. Thinking about where I will want to keep space for writing, I'm adding in a little label, which also has mushrooms on it, and drawing a bounding box around it. This can be where my introductory text goes. This is actually a little sticker printout of a lino cut that I made a few videos back. I'll link to it in the description. I took a photo of it and then I printed it out on a mini printer with sticker paper. This is a great way to add in your own artwork at a smaller scale, whilst keeping your originals intact. For sticking items down, I use a few different methods. A really good one is this double-sided tape that you roll across the paper. No mess, no fuss. When you're happy with a layout, you can make it permanent with pen, which is what I'm doing here, using a dotted line to help what will be my introductory text stand out. I'm adding in a little toady mushroom in the corner for an extra edge. I'm also happy with my mushroom drawing, so I'll go over that in pen too. Here is a lovely patterned paper scrap. I thought the colours were gorgeous and quite mushroom and nature themed, so I'm going to use it for a border. I'll add a smaller plain piece of paper over it. Tearing all around it is a nice way to get a rough scrapbooky look. And I'm going to add in a cute little sticker to strengthen this border. When working on your page, think about the colour palettes to help create harmony. I have lots of mushroom stickers, but I want to pick one that complements the current colours on display. So I think this one works best, a warm, earthy orange-brown. Washi tape is a lovely, easy way to add decoration to your page. Here I'm adding it as a long strip along the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding in some notes. Fungi, findings and thoughts. And going back in to add in some detailing to the title and my drawing. I love using my label maker for things, and here is no exception. It's good for bold titles, and it also acts as a subject break, splitting up the page nicely. Another wee tip for you is to use smaller pieces of scrap or cut-offs from larger pieces. So here I'm using a long strip of this patterned paper on the opposite page. This helps tie them together and helps guide your eye from place to place. This time I'm using a PVA glue pen as it's too thin for the tape. Another nice way you can create a title is to use a torn piece of paper for a nice rustic look. You don't always have to write paragraphs either. You can break up your page with some bullet points. Some call this commonplacing, others journaling or even scrapbooking. I like to just think of it as a mix of all three. This book includes facts and figures, but also my own musings on things. Sometimes if you box yourself into a label, it can be quite limiting. I want this to be a place where I can play and put whatever I feel like. But if you think that will overwhelm you, then it might be a good idea to give yourself some parameters like nature only or factual book. Do what suits you. I want to colour my drawing and title, but being mindful of the paper, I'm going in lightly with watercolour pencil and activating it with just a little water. A little texture can really bring your page to life, like here where I'm adding in a little leaf. It's nice and thin, so ideal to sit between pages. And that's the first spread. Step 4. The second spread. For my second spread, I'm going to draw and paint a mushroom diagram. I'm doing this on a scrap of watercolour paper, which I'll then stick into the page. I'm going to try a different colour palette here and go more bold with reds for those well-known fairy tale-like shrooms. They're so beautiful. I've annotated the different part of the mushrooms, and I'll add in a descriptive key in the book. This is another scrap of paper that I've painted red, which I'm going to use for the title of this painting. For the key text, I'm sticking in some red card. So now I have 3 different textures on this page: the watercolour paper, the painted paper scrap, and the smooth card. The diversity of textures is really fun to play with and gives you a more interesting page. I'm adding in another sticker and a little scrap of green grass that's left over from another art project I did recently. This is a little cutout I took from some packaging. I have 2 of these, so I might put the second one on the other page. And here I'm adding in a stamp for the first time now. I tried orange ink first, but it wasn't showing up well, so I went over it again with green ink. The messiness doesn't matter, in fact, I think it adds to the nice scrapbook feel. On the facing page, I'm going to go through the same process, adding in the images first before writing. This mushroom matches my drawing, and this little grassy bottom also complements the first page here. These are the other pieces I'd like to use on this spread. This is the same packaging scrap from the first page. I love these little fairy tale scenes, but I don't think I've got enough room for them all. More of the painted paper I've torn off, and a little mushroom stamp. So just place things down where you feel they look good and help break up spaces for writing. Overlapping works nicely and adds some intrigue. I've decided to keep this strip whole and stick down the top part. That way I can unfold it to view them all, while saving space on the page. Using the same washi tape from the first spread helps all the spreads tie together, so I'm adding it to the bottom again. Another stamp. And a dotted line again for separation. I'm going to try using a coloured pen to write this bottom section to help it stand out, a nice mossy green. I'm writing about fairy rings in here. And back to the brown pen for the text at the top. And that's the second spread. Step 5, the final spread. For my final mushroom spread, I again want to look at different colours. I'm going to take advantage of the mushroom's psychedelic properties to explore those more crazy colours. This lovely paper, to me, mimics the underground veiny network that mushrooms spread under the earth. So I'm going to use this as another chunky border, within which I've got a note about this forest network. And a little moral mushroom for the decoration. For consistency, here's the same washi tape again to separate the page. And another little stamp because it's so cute. I have more of these painted texture paper scraps, which are ideal for some psychedelic shrooms. I'm drawing little heads and stalks on these that I can cut out to create a mushroom collage. You can buy papers like these or make your own very easily. Again, overlapping is fun and helps save space as well. I've cut out a little mushroom from the same paper from spread 1. And adding it into this little space up here. It goes well with the yellow border here, I think. Since there's not much space in here, rather than writing a paragraph, I've opted for adding in blobbed shapes filled with short statements on what mushrooms can apparently do for you. I think this helps with the trippy look. Final page now. I love this little fairy tale label, so I'm putting this in the top corner, creating a border down the side. And I can then lengthen this border with some stickers that I have yet to use. More magical looking ones to keep the theme for this spread. I'm just splitting this page in two, separating with my dotted line. And bringing in some of that nice patterned paper again. I decided to paint a piece of paper for this section of writing. This passage is all about how to forage for mushrooms. And then a final positive statement to end these pages. If you have a little space and you're not sure what to do, sometimes just a strip of coloured paper is all you need. I decided to colour this wacky section to emphasise it even more. And one more label to finish it off. Step 6. Completed pages. I hope watching me create these spreads has inspired you to try your own. The hardest part is the first step, and once you get going, it can get rather addictive. It's wonderful to have a book full of things that you love, so go on and start one yourself. Comment below on what you'd like to journal, and I'll catch you next time.